Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Last week, the federal government of Nigeria filed 7 counts of treasonable felony and money laundering against the convener of the RevolutionNow protests, Mr Olamide Sowore. The former presidential candidate in the February 2019 presidential elections in Nigeria and publisher of Sahara Reporters is charged along with Olawale Bakare, also known as Mandate.
The charges were signed on behalf of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice August Sowore by Aminu Ali, who is Chief State Counsel in the Department of Public Prosecutions of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Justice. The charges were filed a day before the expiration of the detention order of the Federal High Court in Abuja, permitting the Department of State Service to keep the activists for 45 days.
In the charges instituted against the defendant, the prosecution accused Sowore and his co-defendants of committing conspiracy to commit treasonable felony in breach of Section 516 of the Criminal Code Act by allegedly staging a revolution campaign on September 5, 2019, aimed at removing the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The prosecution also accused them of committing the actual offense of reasonable felony in breach of Section 41C of the Criminal Code Act by using the platform of Coalition for Revolution in August 2019 in Abuja, Lagos, and other parts of Nigeria to stage the RevolutionNow protest allegedly aimed at removing the president.
It also accused Sowore of cybercrime offenses in violation of Section 21(1)(b) of the Cybercrimes Prohibition Act by knowingly sending messages by means of press interview granted on this television, Arise Television Network in Lagos, which he, Sowore, stated in the charge knew to be false for the purpose of causing insult, enmity, and hatred and ill will on the person of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It also accused Sowore of money laundering offenses in breach of Section 15(1), subsection 1 of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011.
Joining us now from our Abuja studio is Olamide Adaramola, a legal practitioner and principal partner of Olamide Adaramola & Co. in Buhari, Abuja. Welcome to the show, sir. Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. So let's go straight into this. Good morning. We are looking at these charges being filed just a day to the end of his the duration that he had to be, the 45 days that was granted. Do you think that this is just a ploy to have Sowore in custody for a longer period of time, or these charges are actually, reasonable in the sense in which they were charged against him?
Thank you. Good morning. The charge that was... Hello?
Hello, I can hear you, sir.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Yes.
You can go on.
There's nothing illegal about the charge. The federal government or the prosecutor can bring a charge at any time. But what we must look at is the charge itself. Whether the prosecutor can actually prove the elements of the charge. So there is no time frame. So the prosecution is allowed to bring a charge at any time, even a day that the order ought to have expired. So I think the prosecutor is right in that.
A lot of people, why they may be going to town to say this is because when you look at the case, they said it has been the norm of the federal government to hold people, then look for charges, against them afterwards. And they said this was done in the case. Let's not forget there was first an extension of this date after Sowore was kept in custody for quite a while, and then it was further extended to another 45 days. And this happened since before the 5th of August that Sowore was arrested, and now it's the middle of September that all of this is coming. So a lot of people are saying this wouldn't carry water. Michael Zekome was on television yesterday. He said, this is just a waste of time. What do you say to all of that?
Well, if I look at the charge and the action of the federal government vis-a-vis the Attorney General, you will discover that I would describe it as a waste of time. However, let me point out that the prosecutions have every time to itself, and it has to prove the element of those charges. Now, don't forget that there are 7 charges that were leveled against him. And I went through those charges and I believe that the court has the final say on those charges. Whether the prosecution will be able to prove it is one thing. Now, a lot of people can be saying, on social media, there could be a lot of arguments or disagreements, but that is different from what the law says. The law is paramount and fundamental. Now, I want you to understand very clearly that the issue of treason felony is a sin, in quote, against the state. And the prosecution is, he must be able to prove that Mr. Sowore actually committed the offense. Now, I went through what Mr. Fanala said, and he said that it was a mere protest. Now, in my view, I have not seen, and I'm yet to know, how a mass protest, please, will amount to treason felony. And I know, as a matter of fact, that the court will also interpret the law, which I'm very sure. But if they are bringing this law under the section that was charged with, I do not know how the court can sustain that. So it doesn't matter what the public are saying, what matters is what the law says. And as I said, the prosecution has the onus of proving not only the intention, but the manifestation of this act. And they say in one of their charges that he actually, leveled this war against the federal government. But the question, as I said, is a protest, which we all witnessed, a treason felony under our law. The court is going to answer that, and not the public, views. Thank you.
Okay, not the public views, but I want you to say it the way it is as a lawyer. Let's put all of this together now with your own view of this, and based on antecedents. Money laundering charges, they said a sum of $19,000 was transferred or received by Olamide Sowore. There's evidence. Our station was listed, as an evidence. The interview he granted on Arise News Network. Also, the use of the word revolution, about to usurp and take the government. In fact, there were many legal definitions to it. You lawyers, you are learned people out there, have concocted many definitions to the word revolution. In fact, yesterday, Michael Zekome did say that revolution is the turn of the sun around the orbit. So there's a scientific term of revolutions per minute, it could be. Reading all of this, I want you to have a legal breakdown assessment of all of this.
Thank you very much. The term devolution means forceful takeover of a city governor or a government of the day. Now, in this scenario, if we look at Section 41, Sub 1, Sub A, B, and C of the Criminal Act, under which this charge was brought, the law has said that the revolution, so to say, must be leveled against the government. Don't forget, as I said, that the protest that the federal government was kicking against actually took place. And that was the alleged revolution, that they don't want Sowore to partake in. Now, the revolution, so to say, in quotes, actually took place. And it was a march. It was a march past. It was a protest. And at the end of the way, it ended in release Sowore. It was not against the government. Now, any revolution that must be staged must be the one against the government. Don't forget to overturn the government. Sowore said that he never had intention of overthrowing the government, but he was speaking against the government maladministration. He saw hunger, he saw injustice, he saw, insecurity, and a lot of that. And I believe as a Nigerian, he should be able to speak his mind. He has his opinion. The law has expressly stated that every Nigerian is entitled to his own opinion. And as a lawyer, I believe that, revolution, the way the federal government term their own revolution is different from the way others will say it. As you said, the revolution to the federal government could be a forceful takeover. However, the revolution, so to say, which is the protest actually took place. The question is this: has the government be overthrown? The question or the answer is left to the court to decide. But there was nothing like revolution. Actually, of course, he made use of the word revolution. Revolution could be anything, but the court, which is the final arbiter, will decide whether the term used and the actual commission of the offense means to overthrow the government. And I want to say this very clearly, that Sowore, who said that there will be revolution in Nigeria if this and this were not done. Now, he was arrested and detained. However, the revolution, the protest, I won't call it revolution, took place.
Okay, so let's
after that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's quickly go to the other charges. Let's quickly go to the other charges. The one on money laundering. Let's look at that. Can you just answer that in about a minute before we go for a quick break and we'll come back? The one on money laundering.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Now, he spoke about the money which I read this charge. I spoke about some amount of money that was transferred from his GTB to UBA account and other things. And the question that crossed my mind was, number one, what is the purpose of this money? The law says expressly that the money must be, if we are going to come under this cybercrime, the money must be to concede. It must be for the purpose of overthrowing the government. The question is, what is the purpose of this money?
Mr. Olamide Adaramola, we'll come back to you after this quick commercial time, and you'll talk more about that money. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Still the Rise News channel here. We're talking to Mr. Olamide Adaramola, legal practitioner. We're talking about this Sowore case and treasonable felony charge. We're talking about money being transferred, because part of the charges was the fact that money laundering happened, and we know that's a very serious offense. So you said some amount of being transferred, for what purpose and the likes. Let's talk about that even more. So I said just continue based on what we're talking about. We're talking about money laundering charges against Sowore, and you were making an explanation.
Yes, I was saying that the prosecution in this instant case, who filed a transfer of about 16,975, must be able to prove that the money was made to overthrow the government, and not that it was transferred. Not that the money was just transferred from one account to another. There must be evidence. I also read that the DSS said there are evidence to show that that a foreign ally has transferred money to him for the purposes of prosecuting his intention to overthrow the government. But the court is, the money being transferred is for the purposes of procuring the overthrow of the government. But Sowore came and said that he had no intention of overthrowing any government, that his intention is to tell the government what was wrong. So on the issue of the money laundering, the law is clear that the prosecution must prove beyond reasonable doubt that the money was made, to wage war against the government, that it was being sponsored. It is not just transfer of money. It was not conceiving money or disguising money. No, it must be proved. Was the money actually procured, into his account from foreign accounts, for the purposes of, overthrowing the government? If the answer is yes, the court will decide that. But if the answer is no, so we are not actually preempting the judgment of the court. But the point is that we need to know whether the court, whether the money was for the purposes of overthrowing the government. If it is not, then it will be difficult to prove. I have read all the counts, and I'm really wondering how the prosecution will put. I'm not the court, but this count has to be proved, and that's where we are. It is not about filing charges, 78 charges or thereabout, but it is about actually proving, that the transfer of this money from one account to another, or from foreign account or domiciliary account, were for illegal means or illegal purposes, and in this instance, to overthrow the government, existing government. So we are watching. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's look at the human rights angle of this. Now, Mr. Sowore has been very insistent that the revolution now was not intended to overthrow the government. However, as a Nigerian citizen, it is his right to protest. Is this entire case the government just systematically maintaining its grip on power by ruthlessly suppressing its opposition?
Well, I will see the government it was to play safe. Even the devil cannot actually know the intention of a man. And in that instance, the government believes, and which is according to law, that before, we might not know, the government does not know, but we must be able to prevent the unforeseen circumstances. For example, the government thinks in their wisdom that if this protest goes on, that the government of the day might be overthrown. However, as I said, I have read this severally, where Sowore said that was not his intention. However, the government, proactive measure, there are a lot of issues brought with the government. We have the Boko Haram, the banditry, the expense, killings, and sort of, and now we have the Sowore's issue, Revolution, who says, things have to change. Now, the government believes that because he had the willpower, that he might change the opposition. So the government is not seeing him. I will not say that. The government might be acting in a good faith. But you see, I question the ex parte motion, detaining him for 45 days. Don't forget that he was to be detained for 90 days. But the court say in his wisdom, Justice Taiwo will say, no, it was wrong, and was given 45 days to be detained for investigation. Is this? Meaning that you have not done your... No, that's not what the law says. The law says that, look, you must let me know what you have done. Now, what they did was to cage him and then begin to look for evidence to prosecute him. No, it is not. That is not what the law says. Now, charges were filed against him on Friday, and he will be there for 45 days. Doing what? That's the question again we ask. What have you been doing? Meaning that he has been kept for nothing. He has been kept for doing nothing. Now, they realized on Friday, don't forget, on Friday, that now you have done this. Meaning that he was kept for nothing. They didn't see anything. Save a protest. We are going to have a revolution.
Okay.
We cannot continue like this.
Let me come in here. What are the implications of this? Being kept for 45 days, although it was done with the court because the court gave them the chance to be able to do this. What are the implications of this as regards Nigeria's partnership and relationship with various fundamental human rights groups around the world, and various charter and fundamental human rights that we have signed up to? What was the implication of this?
You see, seraphs are written. And several that, socio-economic organizations and human rights organizations, even Amnesty are written and condemned the detention. It is not right, it's unjustifiable. If you have anything against the man, let us go to court. What I expect them to do as a lawyer and as a human rights activist is for them to have evidence and then present it for the court. But you are asking for 90 days for you to go and investigate, meaning that you are only acting on suspicion. And in law, suspicion does not grant a conviction. So you are looking for an evidence. Anything, just anything. You just got to know that he transferred money. You just got to know that, you know. And if you remember, he was arrested on the 2nd of August, when protest had never taken place. And first support protest, which is a mass protest, took place on the 5th. Now it was prevented from taking place. Now I actually did a case where the SARS detained some of my clients for 90 days. You know, the way we practice our law here is so strange that you will detain and then begin to look for evidence to procure it. It is wrong. And I think our justice system is going to change. I trust our CJN that we are working on something, and I believe we are going to change. So I think it's a wrong procedure, to bring a fundamental, an ex parte motion to detain and then, without telling the man what he did. It is again the rule and tenet of our laws in Nigeria, and I think we should stop that. Thank you very much.
There's been this talk about sedition. Does sedition still exist in our laws in this country?
Yes, thank you very much. If we look at the, let me read. Let me read I was discussing with my colleague about one of the count charges that says that he insulted the president of Nigeria. Of course, if you know that Jonathan and Obasanjo's regime have been more abused, more insulted in Nigeria history, and they are not the federal government then never took to streets. And if we know that there are a lot of people that have insulted government, however, they brought what the prosecution did, or the federal government, was to brought the charge under a Cybercrime Act. And the court, because never, if we look at period quickly, Section 24 of Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2015, Section 24, please, is there anyone who knowingly or intentionally sent a message or that matter by means of computer system or network that, let me quickly go to, the two, Section 2 now, where, right, where it was, which I said,
Mr. Adaramola, we'd like to say a very big thank you. We have the connection not cooperating with us. We'd like to say a big thank you to you. You've been able to make a case around this. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you for your time. That brings us to the end of the show today. I'm Rafai Oseni. And I'm Shaitan Atigari. Thank you for watching. From our entire team here in Lagos, enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.